What's up, guys? Welcome to our King of the Strip prep with the big bad V80. Yes, we are freaking loving the new mirrors. Goodness, so much better. Miles better. So good. Anyway, so we haven't really touched too much on this thing since Rex redid all the manifolds and the hot sides and stuff over Christmas. So basically, King of the Strip was coming up. We had heaps of people tagging us. We've been doing quite a few forward drives, quick forward drives. So, you know, the channel seems to be getting more and more forward drive orientated or incorporated at the very least. And we thought, well, why not actually go and do an event in this freaking twin turboed V8 Land Cruiser that Rex built. We need to start getting out and actually going to a few things. So we've recently had COVID. We've got COVID right now. But we're freaking hoping that it's all going by next weekend at this stage. Today is Friday, King of the Strip is next weekend. So yeah, definitely hope the COVID's all gone. So anyway, we haven't really touched on this thing much since we redid all the manifolds. We've been using it heaps, towing with it heaps. It's been just being a sick workhorse. I've actually been daily driving it a fair bit, and yeah, the thing, you just jump in, hit the key, chuck it in drive, cruise around, tow around. The thing is just, it's awesome. This is just such a good rig. It's freaking wicked. We love it. But one thing that we did notice after Rex redid all the manifolds was that it wasn't hitting the same boost as it was prior to that. Now, we didn't have a chance before the dyno shat the bed to actually get it on the dyno and investigate it further. But on low boost, we were only seeing now like 6 pound, and on high boost, we're only seeing like 10, which previously low boost was around that 9 to 10 and high boost was 14. So we were trying to figure out what the hell was going on and why it was low on boost. But without a dyno, it was pretty hard. But Rex spent an afternoon sort of digging around one afternoon and actually found that it was the references on the gates were actually leaking. So they weren't sealing properly, and that is why it was not holding the same amount of boost. So he fixed that as best he could. Spent a bit of time fixing the ones that were obviously leaking. And then from there, I actually went and did some testing when I was driving it one day to see what happened. And then all of a sudden our low boost was like 12 pound and our high boost was on its way to 16 and exceeding 16 pound. It was getting pretty up there. It's pretty wild. So we've been investigating what's going on there now, and we've actually found that there is more leaks, multiple leaks from these gates. So Rex fixed the ones that he needed to fix that were obviously leaking, preventing the gate from holding the diaphragm shut. Now we've realized that there are a lot of other leaks which are now preventing the diaphragms from opening properly. So Rex has gone through this afternoon and just basically ultra coppered the crap out of everything he could to try and get the gates to seal. Now these gates aren't high quality gates. These are actually just, when we first built this thing and we put the China GT 3582s on it, these are just like eBay tile copies. So not an expensive gate. They've really done quite a good job to last this long and do what they have done for this long, but it probably is time to actually put some decent gates on this thing. A lot of you guys know we're a Turbo Smart dealer now, so we still haven't got these new manifolds coated. They're still raw, but now that we have a hookup that we just got all the HQ stuff coated with, so we've got someone that we can send stuff to get coated, which is what we're really waiting for this. So obviously we're not gonna have time before King of the Strip, but after King of the Strip, we might look at swapping these gates out for some actual Turbo Smart items, which are gonna be way more reliable and do a much better job at what we need to do. And once we've got the gates sorted out and swapped over and we're happy with it, we'll actually get these manifolds and turbo housings off to get properly ceramic coated. And then this thing can go back together, hopefully for the final time, for a long time. Me and Rex have been talking about it. There's a lot of other stuff that we sort of would like to redo with this thing. Like in the nearly 4 years since this thing was built, we have progressed and learnt so much. We're much better at what we do now than back when this thing was first built, and we have been talking about potentially actually just like rewiring the whole conversion and doing like a whole heap of different stuff. Redoing all of the boost control, putting all AN4 weld-ons and doing all stainless braid boost control lines and everything. So there's a lot of things like that that we'd like to revisit on the car and fix. But anyway, all in the fullness of time. So at the moment, Rex is diving under this dash here, and I'm sure seeing some horrendous things under there.
Yeah, I don't like what I'm seeing at all.
It's one of those things where like the deeper you go and the more you remember it about how you did it, the more you're like, man, I could do that so much better now.
Fucking nice.
One of the main issues we had with this thing is that we had iBoost running at 14 pound, which was all well and good, but we don't really particularly want to push this thing much further. We're sort of at a point now where we're pretty happy to lean on it a bit more now, but at the time, we didn't want to exceed 14 pound because then you're starting to push the limits of the stock Gen 3 rods that are in this engine. But because we're pushing tiny turbos so hard, what we're seeing is that it hits 14 pound, but as revs increase and you get further along in the rev range, the exhaust gas backs up and boost starts to drop. And the reason for that is that we've got an e-boost Street 40, so we can just set a duty cycle, but we don't have any reference in the Street 40. We don't have any RPM reference in it, which means that the duty cycle that we set for high and low boost is just that one set duty cycle for the whole rev range, which means that, you know, at that duty cycle we're seeing our 14, we're towards the end of the RPM, starting to drop off, and it drops down. What does it actually drop down to, Rex? It drops about 3 or 4 pound, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's down towards like 10 or 11 PSI.
Yeah, so...
We could, if we start the dyno back up, we could find the graph.
Oh yeah, we probably could actually. I forgot that it's on that dyno. But anyway, the point is that because of the restrictions in the exhaust housing, because of the way we've sized the turbos, it does dive. And what we could do if we put an RPM reference into the e-boost is actually jam some more duty cycle into those higher RPM areas. And that way we could actually maintain that 14 pound across the whole rev range. And, you know, obviously for things like King of the Strip and Golden Roll Racing and stuff, that's going to be a lot better for us. So Rex is under there trying to sort out getting a RPM reference into the e-boost so that we can sort that out before King of the Strip. But honestly, that's probably about as far as our King of the Strip prep's going to go. Like I said, I've been daily driving this thing. It's been awesome. We don't really have anything else to fix or do on it. We'll get those gates sorted, get an RPM reference into the Street 40 and just chuck it on the dyno for a health check. What do you reckon, Rex? Are we going to put the party pipes on it, or are we going to leave them plumbed in?
I wanted to do a bit of testing on the dyno with them.
Oh yeah?
Some back-to-back, just to see what the back pressure and stuff's like.
Righto guys, so Rex has got the e-boost reading RPM, so we've got a signal into it now. So now hopefully this week we get a spare day to get the big girl on the dyno just to do a bit of a health check. But yeah, keen to see what this thing actually does at King of the Strip. I'm really excited about it. Righto guys, so we're back here this morning. So part of the scrutineering for King of the Strip is the park neutral inhibitor switch has to work, which this one has never worked. It really should have always worked, but we just have never bothered. Obviously, the only people that drive the car definitely know how to use the shifter, so it's not something that we ever really were worried about. But it's really not a bad thing to have in there anyway, and we need it for scrutineering, so may as well put one in. So that's what Rex was doing. So the other issue I did forget to talk about yesterday as well is that this radiator does have like a pinhole or a tiny crack in it somewhere, and it does leak coolant. So we did talk about buying another one before King of the Strip, but that never happened, and it's probably too late now, so we might just have to see how this one goes. Righto, all done on the inhibitor switch, so now it won't start in drive, which I don't think it literally has ever happened.
No, but it is something that I had intended to sort out, you know, later on. That was, what, 4 years ago?
Yeah, a little while ago now, but better late than never. All right, guys, so this video has not gone at all how we expected or how we wanted. It is now Friday morning, 10 to 9. We have just had the most hellish week, absolute week from hell. You can't even make it up. It's ridiculous. I'm not even going to bother in this video. It's too long. But anyway, it's been a terrible week. We're literally getting the cruiser on the dyno now at 10 to 9 on the Friday that we're meant to leave, which is exactly what we didn't want to happen, but it is what happened. The dyno computer has yesterday decided to do a big poo. So it's been nice to have the dyno back up and running for all of frickin' 10 days, and now the computer's gone and shut the bed. So yeah, anyway, I've got the case all apart and I fucked around with a few things, and I managed to get it sort of working. So anyway, we got it working. It's temperamental, but it is working. We ran like a software repair program through the dyno software yesterday and yesterday afternoon, and I did manage to finish the car that was on the dyno. So we're going to chuck the cruiser on, see how it goes, but we're not really counting too much on it actually working. But hey, it's on, it booted up, so let's go. So obviously it goes without saying, we, at this point, with the week that we've had, and the time that we've got left, we're obviously not going to be trying to hunt for any more power than we've already got in the cruiser. We figure this week's already been terrible enough to us. The cruise has been fine with the power it's making for the past nearly 4 years. So we're just going to get it on the dyno. It's the first time it's been on the dyno since all the new manifolds and everything were done. At the very least, we'll just check it up, what it's like with the new manifolds and everything. See how we've got the boost pressure sorted. Just that then, but not going to bother trying to get any more boost into the thing or trying to retune it too much or anything. Just basically a health check so that we can get going. So not only do we have to get to Banaraby today for King of the Strip tomorrow, but I've actually... We've got an engineer that has to go down to the machine shop, which is just another part of this absolutely crap week. And also, I've managed to score another hoist, which we're going to pick up as well on the way. And yeah, it's a bit of complicated. We'll pick it on the way back through, but we've got to go load it up on the way out. So we've got to go down to the coast to do that, and then get up to Banaraby this afternoon and check in, and then go drag racing tomorrow. So anyway, it's going to be a freaking big day. This is basically the other. Oh, just another portion of our hellish week. There's more to it than even this, but this is not where you want to be on this project at the moment. So you'll see that in the content that's to come, but it's not too fun either. So, and that was after the week started off on a terrible note. So it's just been honestly the worst week ever. So let's hope that we can just go drag racing and have some fun and not have any issues. See how this goes. Righto guys, it's going to be a very, very long day. So, we've got problems. We already knew that we had a bit of a radiator leak, which we had all intentions of getting a new radiator before King of the Strip, but that never actually happened. So we are leaking a bit of water on the ground, and the concern we have is that they won't pass it for scrutineering because it's leaking fluids, which is, that's the rules. That's fair enough, that's the rules. So, it's sort of right on the tank where it joins to the actual core. So it's not really a spot that's easy to get at. Getting this radiator out is an absolute mission because it's a Toyota, not a Nissan. So a quick fix, I don't know where I put it, but a bottle of Seal Tight. Seal Tight, I don't even know where it went. I had it out a minute ago, anyway. We're gonna have to dump the coolant, flush it out, run it with water with that in it. Hopefully it seals up that hole. All we can do is try, because we're not going to be able to get that radiator sorted today. So second issue is the fuel is absolutely trash. It is definitely what happened to this thing. 100% just terrible fuel. We ran octane booster in it. Seems to have gotten a little bit better, but yeah, the fuel must be the, yeah. I'll talk about that at a later date, but the servo where we get our fuel must have had a really bad batch of fuel, or the tank's been contaminated or something, because the fuel we've been getting from there the past 2 weeks or so has been absolutely horrific. Anyway, next problem, bit of a misfire, as you probably could hear from the footage. Got a miss, we're going to put that down to plugs. We'll try new plugs, or it could have something to do with this issue, which is that the map sensor is not reading correctly. So both the dyno and the e-boost are telling us it's around 11 pound. Map sensor is telling the ECU that it's around 5, which is obviously not a good thing. So got to try and figure out what the hell's going on there, what the problem with that is, and try and get this sorted. So it's going to be a long freaking day. It's definitely not what we wanted. We wanted to have this on the dyno earlier in the week, but the week absolutely turned to shite. So here we are.
Melty and...
Oh yeah, it's getting a bit hot, eh? This is the stuff I was talking about, guys.
That's silicon.
Obviously, definitely not an ideal thing to be putting through your engine. We don't recommend it, but like always, we've ended up under the pump and rushed to try and get things over the line. So it's going to have to do.
Damn fucking...
I don't know, do you just want to call it? We just won't go.
I'll just keep trying. I don't mind if we get there at whatever time of the morning. You don't.
Long ass drive ass.
We already paid for it, so.
Yeah. Yep. Well, worst case, we'll ditch the plans we had today and just leave straight from here and worry about what we had to do today on Monday. Oh, that's the other thing I forgot to mention is the power steering pump has gotten very, very noisy very quick. So we're gonna, I think we've got a spare one in a container. So we'll chuck it in the car and take it with us because I don't suspect that this, well, I do suspect that this power steering pump is not long for this world. So anyway, we had a spare map sensor in stock, so Rex is chucking that in now. Hopefully a new map sensor sorts out our issues. All right, guys, so yeah, it looks like that it might not have been actually a problem with the map sensor. It might have just been a problem with VCM scanner. So we're gonna put the other one back in now that we've got the scanner channel set properly again and sort that out. Anyway, so we'll try the other map sensor back in there. Obviously it's still misfiring, which we still think is plugged. So we're gonna sort the plugs out. Hopefully that sorts it out. And then after that, we're smooth sailing, maybe. So while we do plugs, we'll dump the radiator or the coolant the first time. Then we'll do another flush before we use water and that silly stuff. So we'll do that while we do plugs, while it's cooling down. And the other thing is we've got a few little oil drops under the car, leaking a few oil things. Rex started to look, he's pretty confident that all of them are coming from the power steering. So same thing, while we do it, we've got that other one here, we may as well swap it out. Put the other power steering pump in it and give it a wash down, and then hopefully that sorts it out. Hopefully there's no more leaks. And hopefully the plug sort out the misfire and we're good to go. How good's this on Friday when you're meant to be on the way up? It's a bit warm.
Magnet can get that out, stick in my hand in there and go fishing. It always had it's got a couple of little oil leaks, but they're not that bad, so that's why I'm pretty sure it's that power steering.
Yeah.
It started being noisy, can't all be
coincidences. Well, of course it can be. Look at the week we've had. I don't think that tub's got to be enough with that auxiliary tank, is it?
Yeah, probably not.
But what if I want wings? All right, so another issue that we have been having today is voltage. The ECU reckons it's only seeing like 12.8 volts, but the alternator at the alternator post and at our posts over there in the engine bay both say like 14.7. So alternator's charging, but for whatever reason, the ECU is only seeing 12.8. So Rex is investigating that now, and the volt multimeter is doing some weird stuff, which is making it nice and easy for us. So it's another thing we're trying to figure out what the hell's going on there. Righto guys, fresh plugs are going in. Obviously when Rex redid these manifolds, he tried to make it as best as he could for getting at the plugs and boots, but there's only so good that you can make it, particularly when you've got to work on it when it's hot. It's only so good.
Sucks.
It only gets so good. He did find on this side, this plug boot for number 3 wasn't on properly. And you could see where it was trying to arc out, so that definitely could have been the problem with the misfire. We decided just to put new plugs in it anyway.
That white, sort of white shit in there, and then the end of the plug you can see where it's, that's powdery, from where it's just been arcing from a distance trying to do its job.
So that would explain the misfire, where Rex decided to put new plugs in it anyway, because these plugs haven't been changed in a long time. It's not going to hurt to have new plugs in it. So we don't know what's going on with the control, with the module, the ECU, as far as the voltage. Did you sort that?
No, I don't know. I've checked all of the battery and ignition ins are getting full voltage at the plug.
Yep.
So then I just did a couple of checks. The earthing, for some reason, in those pins, piss off. Seems to have had a fair bit more resistance than I would have liked.
Yep.
But I don't know, I checked these earths, I did a bunch of earth checks and it all seems fine. So I really don't know. I even tried another ECU.
Yep.
Other ECU is the same. Like out here it's reading in like 12.8 to 13 volts, or even higher, and then when you turn the scanner on, it's saying 12.1 to 12.0.
Yep.
So I haven't come across it before. I don't know what's going on.
We'll just send it anyway. So get these plugs in, get this boot on properly. Hopefully that gets rid of the misfire, which means the fuel gets back to normal on the dyno, which hopefully keeps working. And it's midday at the moment. Hopefully we get away from here at
Is it 12?
some point. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
New mirrors look good though.
Be a good idea.
Yeah, the old coolant temp sensor's not looking too great.
Yeah.
Imagine doing all your event prep the day you meant to leave. That's what the
Cool kids do. All the smart people.
Not by choice. New temp sensor. A new one.
Oh, snoo!
New. Righto, Rico power steering pump. Need to put fluid in it. Then it's ready to go. And I have made arrangements for all the other plans that we had today that we were going to do. And we'll sort them out on Monday morning now when we get back. So it means we only have to leave straight from here and head straight up, which cuts out probably a good 4 hours of our day. So it means that even if we don't get away from here until like 2 or 3 o'clock, we still get there at some sort of reasonable time to check into our accommodation and stuff. So it also means we can't afford to break it because we need it on Monday. Righto, let's try again. We actually started it up this time. Control module voltage 13.8. So whatever Rex did messing around with the control module obviously worked. Just moving crap around, that actually happened. But anyway, we'll see how it goes now. Righto guys, so we're still having a few issues. You can probably hear from the footage, it's breaking up. It's causing a few issues. We had a few runs there where it didn't do it. I wasn't filming, but there were a few runs there where it was fine. We went like nearly 480 at our 14 pounds, and it was looking pretty good. Then all of a sudden...
It went 486.
486, yeah. And then all of a sudden started doing the same thing again, started breaking up. We had the multimeter on the posts in the engine bay where all the wiring goes to, and they weren't showing that it was dropping significantly in voltage, so it didn't appear to be a voltage issue. The dwell all seems to be all right, and even then that wouldn't explain why it would do it sometimes and sometimes not.
Well, those leads on that side are all tied together. Now, I have heard of people running remote coils, like putting them under dash and stuff, and they run them through the firewall and they bunch them all together.
Right.
Or they use billet alloy or steel separators to go through, and it can cause cross jumping and misfires.
Arcing out, yep.
And because it doesn't do this under low boost, that's what it seems like, is some sort of
load related
spark issue. So we've separated all of them now, and we'll see if it makes a difference.
Righto guys, we're still having the same issue where it's sometimes alright and sometimes not. So Rex is re-terminating the problem plug lead, because everything sort of is pointing to a plug lead, the issues that we're having, which is strange. But
well, that was the one that was funny coloured before. If you have a look at it, it's actually been distorted out of shape, which must have been from when I went to bend the end of the boot. And like the plug is real.
Oh.
You know,
the greatest contact.
Not very good contact. So I've re-terminated with a new terminal, and you know that was the one that wasn't on there properly. It had the white on inside the boot.
Yeah.
So it seems like this was a bit sus. So the others all look great. It's the only one I can see so far on this side that looks a bit odd. So it looked a bit sus. Yeet.
Yep.
Try a new one.
We'll try this. Basically, if it's still doing it, it's 10 to 3 now. We still haven't even packed up. So basically, if it's still doing it, Rex is just going to play with the boost settings and sort of just get it down to a point where it's consistent, or at least doing what it should be doing. We know that the tune's all right up until that sort of 15 pounds. So we'll basically, yeah, we'll get it right on the dyno at whatever boost it's happily going to run and be fairly consistent. Like we talked about, it's not doing it on low boost, it's only doing it on high boost, which is why it's definitely a load related thing, and it seems to be affected worse by temperature.
Pretty much always a lead when that happens, even though these are brand new. But
so anyway, that's what it points to. But yeah, basically, if it still does it, we'll just get it to a point where it's happy at whatever boost it is, and we can play around with the boost settings at the track tomorrow. At the moment, we sort of just want to get away so that we're not driving in really deep into the night, because I'm already really tired. All right, so found another fairly problem boot on this bank as well. So between re-terminating them both, hopefully this sorts their issue out. So do another drain of the coolant as well, so that we can put this stuff in it for the drive up there. And hopefully by the time we get there, it's stopped freaking leaking. Righto, boys and girls, decided to do one more flush of the cooling system. So just filled with water again. We'll flush it after these few runs, make sure it's all good. So fingers crossed this is our issue sorted. The lazy starter is getting even worse. Throughout the day, it's been getting worse and worse. So you'll see in the content of this, but unfortunately, obviously, the GU has been re-pulled apart. So we're just going to chuck the starter from the GU in the car, just in case something happens to our starter. It'll at least get us home. So there's that. There's also a brand new alternator that we have for the 6-litre 80 series, which is for his LS1. We're going to chuck that in as well, because this alternator has done those funny things all day today. So just trying to cover our ass for if something happens. You know, these things can be replaced at a later date, but it's just as long as we've got them while we're so far from home, they'll at least get us home if we have any issues. So brand new power steering pump, so hopefully it's not a problem and we'll get it done. So one thing that's been interesting is the tune's not been too far off. We've ended up at the same boost now at the exact same duty cycle as it used to be with the new manifold design. So obviously both manifolds had quite good priority flow, and the duty cycle hasn't had to change much to get them back to the same boost once we fixed all of the leaks in the boost lines or the reference lines to the gates. So that's interesting. Another very interesting thing is that Rex has actually had to pull quite a lot of fuel out, which would lead us to believe that when Rex fixed that fuel pump wiring, that was being a problem. It's probably made quite a bit of difference to the fuel pump actually operating. And we think for so long the fuel pump was just struggling to get it done with the voltage that it was getting from that wiring. So pretty interesting stuff. But anyway, hopefully it's sorted now and we're on the home stretch and we can actually get out of here. Righto guys, so far it's looking promising and sounding promising. We have only got through 2 runs though, which we got 2 good runs in before it started playing up again. So we just had an intake pipe blow off, but did make a 507. As you can see, with some extra duty cycle compensation in the higher RPM, it's actually maintaining 14 pound now, where the previous tune, the 14 pound, was starting to drop off back down to closer to 12, 11 at the end here. So 507 is the most this car has ever made on this dyno. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Over 500.
Over 500, mate.
The other thing that we were planning to do today was actually get this thing out on the street to do some runs with the Draggy, because we've never run this thing down any sort of strip. All we've done is like lakeside and rail racing, which obviously there is no formal times. So we have no idea. Well, we have an idea just from the calculators that you can just, you can use to calculate based on the horsepower and weight. But realistically, as far as a real world time goes, we have no idea what this thing is actually going to run. And the way King of the Strip is, it's a bracket competition. You're meant to dial your own. So we don't even know what the hell to dial for this thing. We have a roundabout idea of what it should be capable of, but we realistically have no idea what we should actually dial, being that this is literally the first drag event we will have ever entered in anything, let alone this. So no idea what we should dial.
Well, they give you some practice runs to do.
They do give you practice runs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that'll be alright.
I assume so. Can't just
Hopefully.
rock up and be like, yeah, man, we're going to run a 10. Lock yourself in for the weekend.
Righto guys, so we've got about 5 runs with no breaking up, so we're calling that good. It's 10 to 4. That's pretty much all we've got time for. It's all she wrote, so hopefully it's all good for tomorrow. All we can do is try. Would have been really nice to see what it would do with the screamers, try a few other things. But hey, that's what happens, that's what you get. Shorter time, it is what it is. So anyway, we've got to dump this water out again, refill it again, get ready to put our stuff in it for the drive up. At this stage, we're not going to get up there till like 10 o'clock tonight, so I need to call the place we're staying at and see what their check-in is like. It might end up not leaving till tomorrow at this rate if we can't check in. So anyway, we'll give them a call and see what happens. But yeah, be interesting to do some more testing with this thing. But it seems happy now, which is awesome. So righto guys, so we're finally off home to get some clothes so that we can leave. It's literally after 5 now, so we're not going to get up there till after 10 o'clock. So what a friggin' day. We thought that we were just gonna chuck it on for a few hours in the morning and go. I don't know why I thought that. Silly of me. But I feel like I'm ignoring the universe. I feel like it's done everything in its power to tell us not to go anywhere, that something's gonna happen. So I freaking hope I don't live to regret that. What a freaking day. What a time. Let's hope we can go and do some cool things. Anyway, thanks for watching as always, guys. Big Girls About is where it's always been, so let's go see if we can wipe the floor with some 700 horsepower Barra Patrols. Maybe, we'll see. Peace out, see you, bye.